Strength is not noise. Power is not aggression. Self-mastery and true mastery begins in the mind. Welcome to Martial Mind Studio, where discipline is character and where purpose is true strength. I'm your host, Abdullah Bayett. Let us begin. Today we have a guest, a very esteemed guest, Junshihan Juwairiyah Morat, a 6th-degree black belt, a master of martial arts, a stalwart for women and ambassador of SKR. Junshihan Juwairiyah is a multiple world champion and has just returned from England, the WKA World Championships in October last year, where she clinched another 2 world titles on top of the 5 she already had. Today our subject matter is gender-based violence, and there's no better person that we'd like to have on our set than Junshihan Juwairiyah to share some wisdom with us into how she became a true champion and that ambassador for our communities and societies via her martial art training. Welcome, Junshihan Juwairiyah.
Jazakallah for having us, Kanchu.
Okay, so please tell us about your journey and what your opinion with regards to GBV is, gender-based violence, and how it affects our communities.
So GBV is very, very big in South Africa. It's really something sad that's happening also. Every household, every community has experienced some sort of GBV, whether we know it or not. Because GBV is not only about the violence, the end point being the violence. It's with everything that comes before that. In the abusive behavior at home from one gender to the other gender. And with that, I must also add that the focus right now is about GBV against women. But that doesn't mean that there isn't gender-based violence from women onto men as well. So it goes both ways, and it should not be there.
Okay, that's on point. I'm glad you addressed that issue, and that is a reality out there. And in most instances, you find men who are ashamed to report these cases because they get scoffed and mocked and ridiculed. So I'm glad you addressed that, and I'm glad you see it as a two-pronged approach from male to female and female to male as well. Please give us an indication as to how GBV does not only culminate or stem from physical violence. Where does it begin, Junshihan?
It begins in our homes. From the time we are little kids, looking at the way our parents interact, looking at the way adults interact, maybe siblings or older people interact. It's from there, because as kids we learn how a woman should be treated, how a man should be treated, how children should be treated. And as kids, being the putty that we are molded in thinking that it's okay for mom to scream at dad. It's okay for dad to say, Mom, you will pay for this. Or that I want my food at a certain time, at a certain temperature, right now, there and then. Those are the characters that are developed within children, and that is what they take forward, and that what they in turn breed in their own homes.
Oh yes, that is so true, because kids are such fertile ground. They're like sponges, as you said, they putty. We mold them into whatever we speak into them and the examples we lead. I really love that, because unfortunately we as parents tend to bleed on our children without even knowing, and we shaping them with our words and our attitudes. So please tell us, how could we use martial arts, and how has martial arts helped you shape societies, and the advice that you give? How does it channel the energy towards something positive and congruent with changing societies toward the eradication of gender-based violence?
So I think the first really important thing that we need to realize is that we are human. We will falter. I mean, as a mama of 4 and busy and all of that stuff, I do also sometimes say a word that I'm not supposed to say. I react in a way that I'm not supposed to have reacted, and that is because we are human. So when we do make that mistake, we have to go back and we have to take accountability for our own behavior first. So it's okay, and I don't always, I will heed my own advice, but it's okay to go back to my kid and say, I'm so sorry, I should not have reacted in that way. It's not okay. Mommy done that, we're not supposed to. Let's remind each other to not behave that way again. So what we also do have at home, and this is with me as an adult, with my mom, is if somebody's spiraling out of control, we have a safe word. And my mom just needs to say the safe word, and automatically that reminds you, okay, you are getting out of control. The safe word was said, and I need to not take offense to that.
It centers you.
It centers
you. It grounds you. It brings you back to yourself.
Because you lose it.
Yeah.
So
that's brilliant.
Like that. And also through the martial arts, it teaches us lots of self-control. So we have all of these techniques that we can do, put somebody down. But we're not allowed to, you're not supposed to. So rather use your words in a positive manner, take a deep breath in before you react, think about what it is that you are going to say, and at the same token, give people three strikes. So when they are being disrespectful or anything, three times, and on the third time, that's when you need to be a little bit more stern. But it never ever resorts to violence. You're not going to knock somebody out just because you can, or kick them just because you can, even though every single thing in your brain is telling you that you can and you want to. But you just need to ground yourself and remember that violence is not the answer, not to anything.
Okay, great. I like that concept, and let's explore the duality of that statement you made. The techniques are designed that you learn in martial arts to put your opponent down. So how about we explore the duality of that and release people from shame by putting them down physically and uplift them with words by adapting and adopting vulnerability, as you indicated, taking accountability and saying sorry, I messed up, and the child will actually respect you, not only the child but your spouse as well. Because I think the narrative that certain genders are beyond reproach and they'll never say sorry, I think that narrative needs to change. Would you agree?
Definitely. It needs to change, but it also needs, the narrative around martial arts also needs to change. Like, martial arts is not violence. It's not, we don't do martial arts because we want to knock somebody out.
Yes.
And you shouldn't be fearful of somebody just because they are black belt. Oh no, I can't tell you that you were wrong just because you are black belt. No, it's the biggest test that there is.
Okay.
And you will very often find that, or I would say 98% of martial artists resort to fighting back very rarely.
Yes.
We do not use our martial arts to beat people up. I've been, I wouldn't say a victim, but I've heard many people say, oh, it must be dangerous in your house.
Yes.
You and your husband can't get into an argument.
Yes.
Why? We are a normal family, we are a normal household.
Yes.
Just because I have a black belt and he does too, but that doesn't mean that we're going to get into a fight with each other and we're going to take it out on each other in the dojo. No, we sit down, you have normal conversations, there are arguments, obviously, or disagreements, but the conflict resolution is also very important.
Yes.
Because as adults, as responsible adults who have self-control, we can say, okay, now is not the time to discuss it, tensions are very high, but let's sit down and let's speak about it later. And then you can come in and talk about situations. Because we martial artists doesn't mean that we are violent.
Excellent. I love the concept of conflict resolution and how you have this three-strike principle and the safe word, because relationships are actually defined in conflict resolution and not in the conflict itself. And do you know what that actually does for the children? When mom and dad have a dispute and the conflict is resolved quickly, it gives hope to the child. So while they're experiencing the discomfort of the argument or the house being in disarray, they remember, okay, the last time mom and dad were not okay and they fought this way, it never spiraled out of control, and they hold on to that moment of hope. Oh, it's going to be over now. It's going to be over just now. So I love that. That's actually brilliant. So using your voice is, you would say, is very pertinent in how you uplift people, how you take accountability, how you resolve conflict. How else could you use your voice to change the dynamics of a situation that's emotionally volatile and inflamed? How do you de-escalate?
So as women, we also need to realize that we are support structures to many people. Not only in our children, not only in our spouse, but we have siblings, we have clients or people, colleagues that you work with. And we also need to remember that we have a responsibility to each other. So we need to talk hope into the next person. You need to talk positivity into the next person. We need to make people realize that, hey, maybe what I said at that point wasn't the right thing to have said. I will deal with it better. But also in saying that, talk up.
Yes.
If you feel that there is an injustice being served, there's nothing wrong with finding the right time to go and say, can we please have a discussion? Let's talk about things. Look at it from my point of view. Okay, I see your point of view. I will compromise, and there's no weakness in compromising.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with saying, okay, maybe I'm going to lose this one, but it's okay. I'll take it up on the next one. It's not always about winning.
Correct.
At the end of the day, if we have children that go to bed and a family that goes to bed happily and healthily, that is your win.
Oh, brilliant.
It's who wants to wake up to your mother being beaten up or hear your father raging.
No.
Nobody wants that. So having peace in your home is the ultimate battle one, but also not having peace at the expense of anybody. So having true peace, not just I'm just going to keep quiet so that it avoids issues. No, you need to be able to speak about things and have real peace for everybody.
Correct. Oh, I love that. And you said something so pertinent. It's not about winning, right? That's so important because most of us indulge or engage in arguments just to have the last say or just to win the argument, to win the fight. So you take a step back, and so it's not about winning, it's about understanding. But then also then to understanding has its limits, because without boundaries, your unlimited empathy in understanding the other perspective does not become noble. It's actually self-abandonment. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Because healthy relationships are established in boundaries. You know the old saying, good fences make good neighbors?
Yes.
And that's in every relationship. You have to have healthy boundaries. Can you please give us some parting advice on, or before we get to the parting advice, how would you say martial art training would benefit women and men and children to harmonize the household? I know you alluded to it earlier. And how often would you say is necessary for people to indulge in martial art training? And which martial art is the best?
So we have a proverb that goes karate no michi. Karate is an obligation. And that doesn't mean specifically karate. It means martial arts as a whole. So there is no better martial art. It is what you take from that martial art and what you do with it. For me, I choose to take kickboxing and all the lessons because we do have a very strong traditional background as well. So I take all of those lessons, and more than the championships, more than the titles, more than the students, it is what I go home with. The respect, the courage, the perseverance, the humility that comes with it all. And that way is how you will reach and you will get through to people. And martial arts is not just dojo. It's everywhere you go. It's in every single thing that you do. It's in every single conversation that you have. And that way is where it starts. And that day is where it will end. The punching and the kicking is just by the way. It's a I don't know a product. They say a byproduct of it all. But the character development is what matters. So every single person should be doing martial arts every single day of their lives through every single step that they take, and not just on the bag with gloves.
Wow, that's a loaded answer. That's a deep answer, and I love the expansion on it. I asked you how often should you train in martial arts, meaning that how often should you come into a dojo, and you expanded it so beautiful. You said dojos everywhere. So when you wake up in the morning and you breathe, that's martial arts. When you speak kindly to a person, that's martial arts. When you respect your parents, that's martial arts. Martial arts is everywhere.
Even when we're eating, right?
Yes.
We taught to sit up,
Yes.
eat, say a thank you for the food,
Yes.
eat with your back up straight, eat only in 3 parts. Those are all values that we learn. It's respect that we learn through martial arts.
Brilliant. So would you say that character is more important than physical skill and prowess?
Good character trumps everything in every single situation, every single career path, every single relationship that you have with anybody. A person with good character does not mean that they're perfect. It just means that when they do make a mistake, they are able to be held accountable, like we started off with, and they can go back and say, "Hey, I made a mistake. I'm really, really sorry. How do we move forward?" And through that, people are more willing to help you. People are more willing to teach you. You are more willing to learn because now you're not blinded by ego. And through that, the accolades come.
Brilliant.
The accolades will come.
So, if there's any advice you could give a lady or a man in a situation that's hostile and they are victims of gender-based violence, where would you start? What advice would you give them?
So I've counseled many people through this, and my first line of advice is for them to always realize their worth first. So as soon as women realize, or even men, even children, as soon as they realize that they are not meant to be screamed at, they are not meant to be hit, they are not meant to be abused in any form, that it gives them a sense of power, which they then take and they run with that. Everything else comes afterwards, because then they realize, actually, no, you don't need to have your tea boiling hot right now. Let's go and do it together. let's help me. Let's have our tea together. It's not about me serving you hand and mouth,
Yeah.
whatever it is that they say. But realize your true worth, realize your value, and through that, that also means having meaningful conversations.
Yes. Having meaningful conversation and discussions, because if you can't get through to the perpetrator, confide in somebody you trust, and that support structure really, really matters.
And everybody has somebody, maaf to cut Kanchu's word, everybody has somebody. So through the somebody that they have, maybe I can't get through to A, but somebody else will come around and say, just think about what you're doing. Maybe this is not the right approach. Maybe you just need to chill a little bit. Just a little bit of a change.
Yeah.
And through that, the home becomes a happier place. So realize your self-worth and have meaningful conversations.
Okay. On parting advice, Junshihan, champion, what do you have to share to our viewers that they can take home with and practice daily in order to get a nice feeling of congruent homeostasis and equilibrium in your home that balances the feminine and masculine energies? Because you would agree that we said it's not gender specific, GBV is either male or female, and that we both have both of those energies within us. How would you say, what parting advice would you give for somebody to alchemize the negative into positive and create a home of equilibrium and peace?
I would say find the purpose. Whatever your purpose is, go out and find it and explore it. So if you are used to sitting at home and doing nothing the whole day, you start focusing on all the negative things that come with it, and obviously everything after that becomes negative. So go and find a purpose. Find something that sets your soul on fire, even if you're only doing it for 30 minutes a day. Because then that means that you are working towards something, you're looking at the positive, and you're taking in positive energy. When you take in positive energy, it pushes lots more negative energy out. And through that, your perspective changes, your self-worth changes, and that's how you then go to having meaningful discussions, having meaningful relationships, and you change the aura around you, which in turn changes the aura in your home.
That's brilliant advice. Junshihan Juwairiyah, it's been an absolute honor, absolute pleasure to have your words of wisdom. And thank you so much for honoring us and gracing us with your presence. We really appreciate you.
Jazakallah for having us, and Jazakallah for always inspiring.
Yes. So there you have it from our world champion, right? So at Martial Mind Studio, we believe that when you train the mind, the body follows, and societies change because of that. Right, so this is very important to understand. So from the dojo, from the home to the dojo, to the world, right? Societies change when you start strengthening your mind, right? Tighten your slack, toughen your body, polish your spirit, and train your mind to live with purpose. On that note, we'll see you on the next one.